Hey guys, what up? It's me, Mitch. Long-time listener, first-time caller, lifetime baller. And when I'm not going into Rhea Ripley and Io Sky, well, shit, man, I'm listening to House of Prayer and smoking a blunt. I'm still doing it though.
Welcome to the House of Graham. Damn vibe with a boot to the chin. Share that link with all of your friends. Slender Man and Grim gon' do it again. Welcome to the House of Graham. Damn vibe with a boot to the chin. Share that link with all of your friends. A Slender Man and Grim gon' do it again. Hard throbs in this thing and our nuts hang. Diamond cutter on a bitch through a bed frame. Bang, pedigree, time to play the game. Raise the flames of hell.
Flipping like Kurt off a perk. Suicide dive like it's 9205. It's just man got my hand up a skirt. Man up a flow, she gon' squirt. I see that bitch boobs through a shirt.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the House of Grim podcast, and we have an exclusive interview this evening coming to you right now with Hard to Kill Dylan Derringer from Pure Pro Wrestling and several other companies in the state of Michigan. This man is basically, in my book, a hardcore legend on the indie scene here in Michigan. Hard to Kill, what's going on, bro?
Just doing the thing. How have you guys been?
No, we're doing good.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Glad to be on today.
No, yeah.
Appreciate you coming in.
Do you know what you got planned for Retroslam by chance?
I do. I've got some ideas that are coming down the pipeline. Not necessarily anything that I can disclose quite yet, but
okay.
You mentioned the hardcore legend part of it, and I think you guys are going to be pretty pleased with what we've got hooked up for Retroslam.
Nice.
Awesome. Yeah, we're actually scheduled to be there at that event and do a podcasting during your guys' matches, man. So we're definitely looking forward to you being out there performing on any level that is, man. You're a spectacular individual, man, when you're out there performing. So you're
I
definitely
appreciate that.
definitely give us fans a show, that's for sure.
Yeah, you guys will want to be up close and personal for that one. I'll put it that way.
Okay.
Yeah. Now you just worked with Kerry Morton, right? Bay City.
Ricky Morton.
Ricky Morton. My bad.
I tagged with Ricky Morton. Yep. It was me and Ricky Morton facing off against the upper echelon. That's Cody Manning and Jake Wilder. And man, how much fun was it to tag with a guy like Ricky Morton? Probably the best tag wrestler to ever lace up a pair of boots, in my opinion, anyways. And
A Hall of Famer.
Just sharing the ring with him was a learning experience in and of itself. His flight got delayed, so he showed up maybe 5 minutes before intermission. So
wow.
I hadn't gotten to talk to Ricky at all leading up towards intermission, and really we didn't know basically what we were going to do until the match before. So not only being in a situation like that where you're teaming with a legend, but now you've got a legend kind of I don't want to say holding my hand, because between me and Cody and Jake, we all have a pretty good idea of what we're doing in there, but having somebody in there that's wrestled more times than I've drawn a breath, that was something real cool, and it was a real learning experience in there with them.
Yeah. I seen Joe post on Facebook, that he was running late for the venue or whatnot, and I was like, oh no, I wonder how that's gonna pan out. And so I was kind of, even we didn't show up, we were at a different event, but I was still on the edge of my seat, man, because I root for Pure Pro Wrestling, man. Like they're one of my favorite wrestling companies that are out there. So I was kind of sitting on the edge of my seat, man, kind of wondering what was going to take place and trying to check in here and there wherever I could, and just to follow up with things. So for you guys to, at one point I seen you posted that he was getting dressed in the car. So I was like, okay, that's a soldier right there. That's a veteran. That's somebody that knows exactly what to do in that time frame, and didn't panic and actually made it work. So yeah, you guys are all legends in the right sense. Like you just said, them other guys that you've been in there with, you guys all have mixed it up. amongst each other for quite some time. So you guys kind of got a general idea of, what's going to take place, and then somebody that you've never worked with before that is a Hall of Famer showing up, moments beforehand. It all ended up working out, and that's because all you guys knew exactly what to do in that time frame.
Well, I appreciate you kind of putting us over there. Ricky really, without him being there, I don't know. I don't know how well the match itself would have gone over with the fans. But man, Ricky made that moment something special. I'll tell you what. Just his energy is so infectious. The crowd immediately latches onto him and bites in a way that only somebody that's been doing it for 50 years can really bring to the table, because he's seen everything 3 or 4 times by this point.
Yeah, we actually went out to JCW that evening, or I think it was that evening,
Yeah,
right?
JCW.
And then we ended up going out again to JCW, and we took Avery Marshall and Atomic Abel with us. And
Okay.
Atomic Abel was showing me in his phone. He's like, "Look, it's the Hall of Fame ring." I was like,
Yeah.
"Man, send me that picture." So Atomic Abel's
Yeah.
holding the Hall of Fame ring and actually sent it to me. So I was like, "Man, that's pretty
Yeah.
awesome, dude."
I
Just for him
I
to
got
be showing his ring like that to everybody, man, is just spectacular.
Oh yeah, it was really cool. I got to touch it. I refused to hold it because I figured that would probably bring some sort of curse on my wrestling career to hold it before it was time. But just being able to touch it and see one in person,
Right.
it's it was a really cool thing to see.
Hell yeah.
Joe held on to his ring as well as his Rolex
Okay.
for the match, so that was just really cool to see something like that, man.
Hell
It's
yeah.
like a walking museum piece.
Right, for sure, man. Especially somebody with that man, that background, that history,
What a
man.
pedigree, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, is there any companies that you want to try to work for here in the near future?
So I just this past Friday, this whole weekend's blended together. I went down to Cincinnati, Ohio for Warrior Wrestling,
Okay.
and what a tremendous! I don't know if you've seen any of the
Uh-uh.
Warrior Wrestling stuff. They're a pretty big indie, particularly here in the Midwest, but what a tremendous event. We were at a old 100-year-old brewery in Cincinnati, and there were probably 500 people there, but it sounded like 5,000 people were in that building. One of the
Wow.
loudest events that I have ever been a part of, even in a small of a part as I was. Really, it was just there, doing what we call paying dues, helping set up, helping tear down, asking the promotion what they need out of me. But man, what a fantastic show. Top to bottom, the show was great. The main event was Gringo Loco versus Commander, and
No
and
shit.
oh my god, some of the stuff that these guys were pulling out, I could have never even. I don't know if you remember the create a finisher from the WWE games back in
Yeah.
the day. You couldn't even make that in that move editor.
Hmm.
It's tremendous stuff. Commander did a rope walk, shooting star press,
Oh,
and
what?
Wow.
oh,
That'd be crazy to see, man.
it was yeah. I wish I had the balance to pull something like that off, but uh, I'm gonna leave that one to the real professionals for sure.
Um, so I have a question for you, man, about hardcore matches and such. I tried to find any and everything that I could find, like match wise, video wise, of you online, and I have not yet found it. So I don't know if it has happened or how you feel about it. Light tubes. How do you feel about light tubes? And have you ever been used in a match with a light tube?
I have never done anything with light tubes in the ring, so just like anything else, right? There's a time and a place for
Right.
everything. So obviously, a lot of the places that I work, particularly Pure Pro Wrestling, places like Fantastic League of Wrestling, you know, a lot of these places are more family oriented places.
For sure, for sure.
The main adult, I'll call them adult place that I work at, it really is all class independent wrestling. And even then, they're not a you know, a deathmatch promotion or anything like that. So
Right.
I have not been exposed to light tubes. It's not something that I'll say never to. Um, but like anything else, there's got to be a time and a place
Right, for sure.
to really pull that off. And so, never say never, but it's not in my immediate future. I'll put it that way.
Right.
Uh,
I mean, there's been times where we've been at wrestling events. I'm not gonna say the company's names, but light tubes would come out and glass would be flying like 7 rows back, you know, and you know that can get in your eyes, little pieces, man, you know, and I could definitely see why a lot of companies that are more family oriented, you know, don't do such, and I respect that. Um, I'm not too fond of the light tubes, honestly, man. Like you said, there's a time and a place. So I guess if I'm going to such event and I know that that's what they do, cool. You know what I mean? But if I'm going to like a pure pro event, you know what I'm saying? I don't really necessarily want to see light tubes, I guess, if that makes any sense.
or if you were to ever see a light tube in a place like Pure Pro Wrestling, you would see one light tube. You would not
Right, right.
see
Not see.
Tokyo Towers or anything like that.
Right.
You know, you would see maybe one light tube, and it would probably be the finish of the match.
Right, right. And
Just as
it'd be done safely where the glass ain't flying 7 rows back. You know what I mean? So
and that if
now
you
that
ever,
I could deal with. You
yep,
know, I could deal with something like that.
I'm okay getting hurt myself. I'm not okay with, you know, the paying customers, people that spent their hard-earned money to come see us perform. I don't want I don't want none of them getting hurt. Even
Right.
with some of the places that I've been with suicide dives,
Yeah.
I've seen 4-year-old children catch suicide dives, and you know, that's not something anybody wants, right?
Right. For sure.
That parent's not likely to bring their child back to the wrestling event. The person doing the dive feels like crap because they just hurt, you know, somebody that's a fan, somebody that's there to see them perform, somebody that paid extra money to sit in that front row to watch them, right? So
Right.
it's, you know, there's two sides of the barricade for a reason, and we want to make sure that everybody is on the correct side that they need to be on.
Right. Yeah, I mean, even sometimes when the wrestlers throw each other into them barricades, man, them gates move, you know, and
But yeah,
so yeah, man, there's been times where me and Grim would get like tossed back to the second row or something, you know. So yeah.
I know at a show in Holland, I was thrown into some chairs, and in the second row there was a woman in a wheelchair, and I didn't land on her, but I pushed some of the chairs when I rolled. I pushed some of the chairs into her, like her shin area, and I she came up to me after the show and she's like, "Hey, I just wanted to let you know, like those chairs hit me a little bit. Thank God she's you know, somebody that I would consider a friend, somebody that's close with another one of the wrestlers. So
Okay.
everything's all cool in that regard. But you know, I couldn't apologize enough
Right, I
for
bet.
putting her in the path of danger, let
Right.
alone, you know, potentially injuring her. I would hate to see
See,
that happen. So,
that's one thing I can honestly say from a fan's point of view, from going to Pure Pro events, man, and seeing you perform and all the other people that are on the roster at Pure Pro Wrestling, bro. I see, and for the most part, like a lot of the other indie wrestlers in Michigan, man, I see that you guys are more concerned about the fans and the show you guys put on for the fans than anything else, you know. You guys are very well respectful to us fans, and you know what I'm saying. So I can feel that and
that's
see
what it's
that,
about,
bro.
right?
Right.
We wouldn't have this without you guys, without the fans. So you know, if nobody's paying money to buy tickets, then what's the whole point of it all, right? Like, you know, where's the venue coming from? Who's paying for the venue? Who's paying for the wrestling ring? Who's paying for the talent? You know, it's a mutually amicable relationship where you as a fan give over a little bit of your hard-earned money, and we provide that entertainment in return. And if we provide that entertainment in a way that makes you not want to come back, then the money stops flowing, the wrestling
Right.
stops happening. You know, as somebody that started wrestling before the pandemic, I've watched wrestling stop happening, and you know, that's not something that anybody wants ever
Yeah.
again. You know, we
Right.
want to keep flowing. So,
Um,
you know, we couldn't do it without you guys. That's for sure.
So I feel like there's a resurgence with indie wrestling. I don't know if it's because WWE ticket prices are like 10 grand for floor seats at Mania. I mean, how could a blue collar family afford, I know I can't afford no $10,000 floor seats as bad
Yeah.
as I would love to go and have floor seats at a Mania,
Well,
you know?
Mania, you're talking like 50 grand.
Right. I mean, I'm just saying, I was trying to be lightly on the price, but so I feel like maybe that has a reason for the resurgence, man. But I feel like you know, everybody, man, wrestling's been around forever. It's like the what do you do with your grandparents, man? I remember being a little boy watching wrestling with my grandpa on TV growing up, and I was, a toddler, growing up to being a young boy and whatever. So, and then I get to experience that with my kids and so forth. And so wrestling's been around for generations. So what do you want to do? You want to go to the matches? You want to go, the bingo halls? You want to go to the VFW halls and watch wrestling with your family? And for WWE to have crazy astronomical ticket prices, man, and then you can't even really uh you might see Liv Morgan for a second get an autograph, but it's high and by, if I'm paying 10 grand, man, I think we're gonna do a little more than just high and by. But
Right.
it's just crazy, bro. So I can come to a Pure Pro event, see somebody like I believe Carlito is gonna be at Retroslam.
That's correct.
Okay. Matter of fact, I got a Carlito action figure right here, bro. And I'm gonna bring that with me, and I'm gonna see if he'll autograph that at Retro Slam. And I tell you what, I could take that with me to 10 WWE shows, and I guarantee he would not sign it. You know what I mean? I mean,
No, if you even got to see him in
Yeah.
person.
right, right. So I mean, it's crazy,
I think the indies are becoming cool again. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
Oh yeah,
I feel like in the '90s they kind of died out because WWE was it, and now they're starting to make a comeback.
yeah.
I mean, the only indies I remember as a kid was what was it? NWA used to come around. Was it NWA?
Hmm. Yeah, where Retro Slam's gonna be at, man.
Yeah.
And NWA. I remember seeing like a wrestler named Gene Austin there. He was telling me that he was Steve Austin's brother. He looked pretty close like Steve Austin. He had
He,
some bigger ears though, but
he
he
put
was
him on.
on.
He put him on the old cell phone with old Stone
He
Cold.
he had one of the Motorola flip phones, and he's on the phone, and he's like, "Hold on, I'm talking to my brother Steve." And I was waiting for a minute, and he put the phone to my ear. And it sounded like Stone Cold on the other end, bro. I don't
What?
know, but I was a kid, dude. I was like probably 11, 12 years old, so I was lost in that moment. That's something.
For
I'm
sure.
40 years old now, brother, and that's something I still to this day remember. You know what I'm saying? Gene Austin from where Retro Slam is going to be, the Door Financial Center, and these moments like that is what us wrestling fans, us kids remember. Some of the stuff that you do out there in the ring, bro. There's kids, 11, 12-year-old kids that are going to remember that when they're 40. You know what I'm saying? And they're going to be able
Hopefully
to,
they don't try it.
Yeah.
right? But I mean, well, if they want to try it, they could always come to train at your guys' school. So,
Yep. Yeah. What was it that the old WWE tapes used to say? Leave it to the professionals. Don't try this at home.
mm-hmm.
Bodies have been bruised,
Yeah.
bones broken, all that good stuff.
And I
Um,
used to love those promo packages. I ain't gonna lie.
Oh yeah, me too.
yeah, yeah. Man, I love wrestling though, bro. Like, since we've been doing the podcasting together, me and Grim here and a couple other guys, um, I really try to do my best part to as a wrestling fan on trying to showcase what you guys can do on the indies, you know. Like there's more to wrestling and there's more of a show to go to than just the expensive ass WWE. You know, you got Chaos Wrestling, you got All Clash, you got XICW. Hell, you want to go to a pretty decent show, even there's JCW, you know. Um how do you feel about JCW, by the way?
I've only been to one of JCW's events, and it was a lot of fun. It was the JCW GCW event at
Okay.
Harpo
Yep.
over. It was sometime over the summer.
Yep, I went there.
But it was a lot of fun. It's one of those things where you know, anytime you're an independent wrestler and you start looking at places to go, you kind of look at it and say, does this fit?
Right.
I don't know that JCW is necessarily a place that I look at and say, oh, that fits. You know what I mean? Because even though I do a little bit of the hardcore wrestling and stuff, it is more in that kind of I always call it like 2000 WWE main event style, right? You know, kind of a big influence of mine is Triple H versus Cactus Jack from Royal Rumble 2000 and No Way Out 2000 in the Cell. That's a big influence on me personally. Two of my favorite matches of all time. I like emulating that sort of style versus a little bit more of that deathmatch oriented stuff.
Right.
So JCW is not necessarily a place that I've ever considered a great fit for me personally, but they put on a hell of a show.
Mm.
And I know a few guys that really do work well there, and it's always good to see what JCW has in store for their events.
Yeah, we just went to two shows Friday, two shows Saturday, and two shows on Sunday. And
But,
man, we had a hell of an experience.
that
Violent J came out. This was in Lansing. We're lined up outside by the door. Violent J come out, recording for his TikTok video. And so we are in his TikTok video that he posted on his girlfriend posted on her Facebook page.
cool.
And so that's a hell of an experience right there. And that was my first time ever really talking to Violent J ever, bro. So like that's on my bucket list. That's like my bucket list interviewee, you know, like just to
Oh,
be able
hell
to talk to him. So I gave him my podcast information, shot my shot. You know, earlier today I seen a message come back from him on Instagram. So like that bro, that's my bucket list right there, is to be
yeah,
able to
that's
interview
awesome.
him. And you know, just to be able to go to these shows, and you know, you don't necessarily got to go to WWE to meet, you know, your idols or your fan favorites. You know, like Carlitos at Retroslam. You know, you got Jack Vaughn, I believe, coming to Retroslam. Jack Price. You know, he's been in TNA. I mean, you got superstar that's been on television. You know what I'm saying? And then you got up and comers that deserve to be on television. Somebody like yourself. You know what I'm saying? And you know, somebody like yourself that most likely is going to go to a TNA or NXT or somewhere down the line. You never know, OVW or JCW. You never know where some of these talents are going to end up. And you can meet them firsthand, get pictures, get autographs. So then when you see them on TV, you be like, man, that's so and so. Look, I got a picture of them right here. You know what I mean? And you get to tell your friends. You know what I'm saying? It's
Mhm.
just a crazy experience, you know, being able to go to these indie events, man.
Yeah.
You know.
I have a
And
question. Oh, I'm sorry. Go
yeah,
ahead.
go for it. Oh,
Oh,
I was just going to finish that thought by saying, Eli Knight, who just recently debuted on NXT,
Mm-hmm.
I wrestled him during the pandemic in front of zero fans, nobody there except other wrestlers in the building, and by other wrestlers in the building, Shug D was in the building, who formerly was known as Pineapple Pete, but Shug D is a big star on the Indies now. Cole Radrick from GCW, um, Kelvin Tankman, who was with MLW. A lot of bigger name indie guys. I wrestled Eli Knight in front of them and only them, and now I get to see him on NXT. And selfishly, I like to point at the TV and say, "Hey, I beat that guy." Uh,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
no, it's really cool stuff. Even in my time in the business, being able to see the progression of people, going from this spot to this spot to this spot, and now they're on the big stage. That's awesome.
Well, you know what's
And
cool about that too, man? It's like somebody like that when it's always two people in the ring, right? So when one of you guys send your tapes out to WWE or TNA or wherever they send the tapes out to, not only are they seeing that guy, but they're also seeing you. You know what I
yep,
mean? And at
yep,
some point, somewhere down the line, somebody's gonna be like, "Okay, I see we got this guy talking to us. Who's that guy? How can I
right.
get in contact with him?" You know?
Yeah, you never know who's watching.
Mhm.
Right.
That's something that I always try to tell a lot of the trainees, even over at Pure Pro. You never know who's watching, especially with social media nowadays. It could be anybody.
Yep.
Right.
We had Marley Rain on, and
Yeah.
she was talking about you about like you're a big fan of like Japanese style wrestling.
Yes.
All right. My question for you is there a specific company that you would like suggest for fans who are new to the Japanese scene?
Ooh. Right now, me and the Global Flyer, formerly Global Flyer, Drake Farrow, have been looking in Dragon Gate.
Dragon Gate.
Dragon Gate is like a junior heavyweight promotion over in Japan, and they put on some thrillers, especially their tournament scene. A big thing about Japanese wrestling in particular is there are a lot of tournaments. You've got things like the G1 Climax. Dragon Gates is open the Dream Gate. You've got World Tag League for All Japan Pro Wrestling. A lot of tournaments going on. So that's kind of my flavor of modern wrestling, where I like seeing kind of that struggle in the spirit of sports, right? We're emphasizing the sport over the entertainment aspect of it. At least in Japan, that's what they're doing. So Dragon Gate's a good one to get into. Pro Wrestling Noah has quite a lot of good stuff going on. New Japan is also, especially recently, they've kind of seen a downturn in the past few years, but they're starting to build new stars, and I think it's a good product to start getting invested in now, because from 2015 through 2021, 2022, New Japan Pro Wrestling was, in my opinion, the greatest wrestling product in the world.
Mm-hmm.
You've got that, and you've got Black and Gold NXT back then. But man, you ever watch a match and you kind of feel the magic re-entering? Like we've been watching wrestling for long enough between all of us to where some of that magic, especially once you know people in the business, right? That magic's somewhat left. You kind of see a little bit of the sleight of hand. You see, you see the patterns in the storytelling and that sort of thing. Mid 2010s to early 2020s, New Japan put the magic back in me, so to speak. Watching guys like Kenny Omega, Kazuchika Okada, Hiroshi Tanahashi, Tetsuya Naito, who I think is very underrated personally. Will Ospreay really started getting going during that time frame. Seeing these guys go out there and not only put on some of the most athletic wrestling you've ever seen, some of the hardest hitting wrestling you've ever seen, but also intermixing that with some of the some of it was almost cinematic storytelling, like the story of Kenny finally winning the belt. You got some of that cinema that the WWE sort of provides, where it's these big, long, extravagant stories where you've got the head guy who's Kazuchika Okada, and he's just ripping through everybody, and you've got Kenny Omega, who came up as a heel. He came up as a bad guy, kind of rooting for the foreign forces, so to speak, in the Bullet Club. He's coming up, and the only way that he is able to beat the final boss in Okada is by reuniting with his best friend in Kota Ibushi. and kind of making amends with a lot of the people that he's hurt. He had a big feud, like an factional feud with the Young Bucks there for a while. And finally, what really pushed him over the edge to finally be able to capture the belt that he wanted so badly was to make these amends and to build fences. It's really special stuff. And it's, I always compare it to like a sports movie, right? Like you watch The Longest Yard, a feel good sort of thing. You might not agree with all the characters in the beginning, but by the end, the inmates win the football game,
Right.
and really something special that you can feel good about watching.
Right.
And I think that's something that can be missing from certain wrestling products is you just don't feel good about watching it.
Yeah.
And ultimately that's what the fans want. That's what the fans will pay for. So yeah, Japanese wrestling, I love the mid 90s stuff from All Japan. A lot of the mid 90s Joshi, early 90s Joshi wrestling. People like Manami Toyota. The list goes on and on. There's always been good Japanese wrestling, since it really was founded. So, like I said, mid 2010s to early 2020s, New Japan is probably my favorite wrestling product of all time to go back to.
Yeah, I feel like the two countries in the world that lead like the wrestling scene is America and Japan. Like there's other countries out there that do good things, but none of them can touch either American or Japanese wrestling.
And you see Lucha Libre in Mexico, right? And you see British style wrestling, over in Europe. It's starting to spread throughout Europe now. And it's amazing what the influence of these different styles can do to the other styles, right? Like, you watch early 90s WWF, and then you watch, early 2000s WWF, and you really see some of the influence that's been brought in, from guys that not only, watch Japanese wrestling, but have been over there. Guys like Mick Foley and
Chris Jericho.
Benoit, Guerrero was over in Japan. Guerrero was also obviously in Mexico. Rey Mysterio. You see all of these people move around, and it's importing these different flavors and different styles of wrestling. Japanese wrestling has a lot to thank Lucha Libre for.
Right.
Mexican wrestling has been a great influence on Japanese wrestling with a lot of the athletic style. So just seeing the kind of cultural cross-contamination of pro wrestling, it's beautiful, because no matter what product you watch, you can find something that you will enjoy. And that's what wrestling's all about, is enjoying it.
Is there anything? I'm trying to word this question the right way. So,
you can word it the wrong way. It's fine.
Is there anything that you would change differently about pure pro wrestling?
Ooh.
Because, like,
so we've got such a. Go ahead.
So, I only asked that because, from a fan perspective, there's nothing that I'd really change about it, honestly. You know what I mean? Maybe. So, like, when I went to the NWA event we were talking about at Dordt Financial Center when I was a kid, I got into the ring and I was able to get a picture taken with Tatanka and King Kong Bundy holding a belt. That's like maybe the only thing, like during intermission, that I would like to see, maybe like when you guys got big stars there, like like fans be able to get into the ring, take pictures with like X, Y, and Z or something, for even for a fee. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, there's nothing that I'd really change. You know what I mean?
And we do have the meet and greet stuff. It's not in the ring, and there's actually a good reason for that. When the name in question, so for instance, Ricky Morton just had a meet and greet. You do pay that fee, and you get in line, and you go meet Ricky Morton, and you get a picture with him and everything. And the reason that's not in the ring is because that's over in the merchandise area. So having that line of people lining up for Ricky Morton or Danhausen, who we had recently, or Carlito or whomever, having that line coming through the merchandise area, benefits me. It benefits
I
the Midwest Misfits.
Perfect.
It
Okay.
benefits Danny
See,
Astro.
now I understand.
So
Okay. I
that's why we
never
don't do
thought
it
of
in the
it.
ring, is because we want to draw as many people as possible into that merchandise area. Because to be frank with you, that's how a lot of us make our money.
Okay.
The booking rate, we get paid a booking rate, right? But that can pale in comparison, especially if you have a healthy merchandise table. And I'll put the Midwest Misfits over for this. They've got a hell of a merch table. Marley Rain, she's still working on it, but she's building a hell of a merch table. A lot of these people are making 3 or 4 times their booking rate in merchandise sales. So that's how a lot of us, afford to, pay for gas or buy Buffalo Wild Wings on the way home.
I
Hang out.
got you. It makes sense now. I never thought of it like that, man. I'm
Yeah.
glad I
Well,
asked that
not
question.
only that, but you know, you go into the ring. People getting in and out of a ring might hurt themselves. They don't know how to get in
Takes
and out.
time too.
Yeah.
Takes time because people don't know how to get to the ring.
Yeah.
It's kind of a weird thing to think about, right? But
Right.
if you've got, especially with Ricky Morton, you might have some geriatric fans that are, some 70, 80-year-old fans that are coming to see Ricky Morton. Are you going to spend five minutes getting them in and out of the ring when you could have that be more accessible over in the merchandise
I
area?
got you. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Now to answer the tough question here, what would I change about Pure Pro? I think we've got such a good thing going right now that I think, and I know we're trying to do this, I think expanding to be able to do, maybe multiple shows in a weekend,
Oh.
kind of building the brand beyond Friday night fights, and then, whatever show we've got in whatever part of the state we're in, that particular weekend. We've got enough talent now where I would love to see, maybe on a Saturday during the summer, maybe half the crew is in Flint and half the crew is in Holland,
Mhm.
or wherever they're at. Maybe there's a festival show that's going on, and I
See,
know that's something.
this
Go
just
ahead.
came to my mind. I would like to see how you guys do the Friday Night Fight show.
Yeah.
I would like to see that show take place even at different events. Like if you guys are out in Holland,
to, to, to
do the
tape something beforehand. Yeah,
yeah,
I think that'd be cool. Instead of having it, in the training center every time, I think having those special events, that could be something really
and
cool. I
then
agree.
other fans might also be like, "Damn, I'm gonna get to be on their show." If I'm in the
Yeah.
audience, I'm gonna buy a ticket. I get to be on their show. The more louder I cheer, the signs I bring can be on
Mhm.
the show. You know what I mean? But I mean, I love what Life in Contrast Media is doing with you guys, man. They're like the best camera crew
Oh yeah.
ever.
Oh yeah,
Like they
yeah,
they
they're the
bring the
best
magic
replacements I
home.
could ask for.
Yeah, they bring
I,
the
I
magic
used to be the
home.
one doing the filming for Pure Pro. When I first started, that's how I got my foot in the door, was being their video person. In some of their promotional stuff,
Hmm.
you can actually see me wearing a hoodie, holding up my phone, using it as a camera. Um, and then that's when Ron and Mackenzie came in. Once I started moving away from that, and they do such great work, and they've
Oh
grown
yeah.
so much.
Hmm.
Their talent, their skill level has it just continues to level up.
Right,
If anybody asks me who I recommend for that sort of work, it's Ron and Mackenzie every time.
right, for
For From
sure.
like the contrast media.
Yeah, they definitely bring the magic home, man. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I seen them at several different companies too, like IWR, man. I've seen them out
Yeah,
there. Yeah, and they're just great people,
yeah,
well-rounded, man, like awesome people. Like we've talked to them a bunch of times, asked them questions, about like our camera stuff and yeah, great people, man. Love them guys.
yeah.
Now you handle a lot of the training at Pure Pro.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I don't know about a lot, but I'm there every Wednesday. I'm there. I was training primarily an advanced session. Now my session's more of a mixed session with beginners and more advanced students. But you could point at a lot of the roster at Pure Pro right now and blame me for them. So
um, who would you point out as an up and comer for us to keep our eye on here within the next year?
keep looking at Big Dom. And I know he's kind of he's already making his rounds. He's already getting out there and doing his thing. But every time he works, I see something new out of him. Something a little different. That has a different influence, a different flavor to it, right? Because it's in wrestling, it's real easy to be a big guy and just say, "Hey, I'm not gonna bump. I'm not gonna sell." But Dom doesn't do any of that. Dom is able to turn the dial, to turn the volume up and down on exactly what is needed out of his size. Because what's the point in having a giant sequoia or a giant redwood if that redwood never gets chopped down?
Mm-hmm.
You gotta find the lumber, so to speak. You gotta use it for something. And Dom's really good at saying, no, now is not the time to chop me down. Now is the time to let me grow. And he's really good at knowing, okay, it's your time to shine. Let me turn up the volume for you. Let me, hit your drop kick, hit your move off the top rope, do what needs to be done to knock me off my feet. Because the better I make you look, the better it is for everybody involved, right? So I would say, and that's a little bit of a dark horse from me, I've got a lot of people that I could call up and comers. Cole Deo is a good example. I don't even know if he's been on a main card yet, but Ironside out of PPW.
Yeah, we've seen him, I think, at the last Friday Night Fights we went to.
Yep. He's tough, he's built, and he has the mind for it. That's the number one thing. Everything else is teachable, right? I can teach most anybody how to bump or how to throw basic strikes, that sort of thing. But you got to have the mental for it before you do any of that. I've seen people that they can do everything in the world. They're some of the best wrestlers I've ever seen, and it all falls apart for them because they don't have it up here, whether that's psychologically in the ring or way more importantly outside the ring. Professional wrestling is not and show business as a whole is not a business that affords mental weakness. And I hate to say that because we do live in a time where we are more aware of mental health than we ever have been before. And, it's something that people are conscious of now, but there's still a lot of stigma and a lot of tradition in professional wrestling that does not gel well with people that cannot bring it in, and I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen before where people will flame out because they don't have their real life straight before they have their fake life straight. So, to kind of bring it back, Dom, Deo, Ironside, Two Fly, who just won the tag team championships over at in Bay City. Obviously Drake Farrow. I mean, Drake Farrow, you could hardly call up and coming. He's blazing his own trail right now. Sometimes it feels like I'm riding his coattails a little bit because he's one of my main guys, and God, just the mind that kid has, way beyond his years. He I don't even know if I don't even think he's 20 yet. He might still be 19, but he's 19, 20 years old, and he's a monster. So you take a guy like that and you keep him healthy, he'll go anywhere. He'll go anywhere he damn well pleases, and there's not anything that anybody can say to stop him. So yeah, I mean, if you want me to pick somebody that I think could be on TV within the next 3 to 5 years, if they so choose, it's Drake. Yeah, that's my dude right there.
Yeah, yeah.
But a lot of up and coming guys out of Pure Pro.
Gotcha. Nick, I was thinking about this. You said something about moments that put the magic back into it for you.
Yeah.
There's one moment that you were involved in that put the magic back into it for me, and that was out at Chaos Wrestling. We had took my buddy Kevin to his first ever wrestling show, and like it was right during intermission. You and another wrestler got into it over by the merch table, and man, oh man, I was like, oh dude, I think that was real. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
so many fans, bro.
Like, what happened?
So many fans were coming up to me. It was like, do you think that's part of the show or what? I'm like, I don't know, bro.
My buddy Kevin was like, dude, that was so crazy. He like ran over trying to get like video footage with his cell phone. He, like I said, this was his first ever wrestling event. For him to experience something like that, I was like, man, that's so awesome.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up too, Grim. That's crazy you brought that up, man.
No, that was a lot of fun doing that over at Chaos. Getting to whoop a little bit of Dean Hendrick's ass. It was supposed to lead to more. That never really came to fruition. But that was. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I do think that that's kind of an underrated moment for me, in terms of just something that's out of the blue, right? You never see it. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because that was a blast for me.
Yeah, that was more of a real moment in a very long time too, man. That
I could tell you, my buddy was like, he was asking about it like after that, like, what's going on with that? The real, like, what? And I mean,
like weeks later, he'd still hit him up, like, man, what's going on with that? Did you guys ever figure that out?
he had a blast at that show though. I made him a sign to hold up. Ended up getting ripped out of his hands and tore up. That Big Dom eats corn the long way.
I remember Dom pointing that sign out to me. He's like, that motherfucker. He has a sign that says "I eat corn the long way." What?
Yeah, he went over there and ripped up. He comes scurrying back over to me like he's like, oh man, like, dude, you're big for nothing, bro.
Yeah,
you're bigger than me.
That's so serious. I want to try to get, like, I want to try to take people who've never experienced wrestling to indie shows, and yeah, I got another friend, Paul, who's never been. So
Hey,
another one
go.
to get going.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Bring them up to Retroslam.
Right? That's what we should get, somebody that's never been, document the experience.
Hell yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah, I got a wrestling ring in my garage, man. I bought it.
Really?
Yeah, it's a little ring. It's only a 10 by 10.
Oh wow. Yeah, it is.
Very small. But I only bought it, man, to use to make content with, and and just to like bullshit around. Like we got two other guys that that does the podcast with us. One's in California, that's Slender Man, and Danny Diesel. He's here in Flint with us.
Okay.
But me and him been talking about doing a match, and gotta get trained,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
but yeah, so we've been thinking about doing a little something here and there, and but I also kind of got it too, because like one of my big like bucket list dreams was not only to do a podcast at Retro Slam, but like that was gonna be like my stage. You know what I'm saying? Like we could like sit in that and do a podcast because it's so small. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? We could sit in there, do a podcast, be elevated, fans could see up
Yeah.
it, you know what I'm saying? And we could have our podcast booth right there, our microphones, our camera, everything right in that area. And
Oh, that's
it'd be
cool.
kind of a cool little setup, you know what I'm saying? It was kind of just for aesthetic purposes in a way.
One day when we get enough.
Yeah, one like that's another goal too. We got like we're gonna get a little office building somewhere and be able to use it to make content and whatever.
Yeah,
But yeah, man. So, or
well,
if
that's
you
good stuff.
or if you ever want to come run the ropes,
Ten by ten.
I've
yeah.
never I've never ran the ropes in a 10 by 10, but I imagine that's you're kind of just hopping back and forth at that point.
Hell yeah, I bought it from another YouTuber, man. He's actually he was getting trained out there at Grind Time Wrestling Academy.
Okay.
I bought it from him, and he's got a bigger ring in his pole barn. He's got a real life size ring now.
Okay.
Uh, but yeah. So,
That's awesome.
but yeah, man. I thank you for your time, bro. I thank you for coming on. I love the wrestling belt you got behind you right there.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, just a little replica. That's usually where I would put a belt if I had one right now, but right now that's just the replica sitting up there. Hopefully
Yeah,
that'll
yeah.
change sometime soon.
That's one of my favorite, the Winged Eagle and the Big
Yep,
Gold from WCW. Them are my two favorite belts.
yep, I love those belts.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, man, we'll definitely see you at Retro Slam. We're gonna be there doing a podcast, and we're gonna try and get a hold of the lineup, get a hold of the card as soon as we can, and try and do some videos and stuff, and kind of help put some things together for that card. So
Yeah, that sounds like a blast, man. I'm looking forward to Retro Slam. It's gonna be something special for sure.
yeah, the way I describe it to people, man, is that's like the Indies mania.
Yeah,
That's the way I describe it to people.
yep.
It's mania for pure pro. But,
Yeah, man. Let's see, what do I have coming up here? I'll be in Spencer, Indiana for Midwest Territories this weekend. And then I've got Capital Pro Wrestling the following weekend in Lansing. Uh, we got a few Pure Pro shows coming up here. We've got stuff going on in Owasso, Holland. We're doing Super Slam, which is going to be at the Holland Civic Center. So that'll kind of be our, I'll call it our Summer Slam, kind of our second biggest show of the year. That's coming up next month. Uh, and I do believe I'll be tagging with Ricky Morton again for that show. I don't think that's
ooh,
confirmed yet, but there's a little scoop for you.
Oh,
If that happens to be the case, uh, yeah, I will be. This next weekend, I was supposed to be at Fantastic League of Wrestling over in Berwyn, Illinois. That show's been postponed, and we're looking forward to heading back out that way for some more Fantastic League of Wrestling. That's another great place that I enjoy working at. So you'll be able to catch me all over the Midwest. Another little tidbit is Las Vegas, April 19th. I will be wrestling at the FSW Arena for, I believe, Second City Wrestling. This is still stuff that's coming through the pipeline. I'm getting more details by the day, so you'll get to catch me and a certain Pharaoh, doing a little something out there. So I'm excited to be. I can't afford to go to WrestleMania, but I'll be wrestling basically next door. So
yeah, yeah,
just being in the environment of WrestleMania, I'm really looking forward to that. Maybe getting some tickets out to WWE World and see what they got in store for the conventions and stuff. And
that'd be awesome, dude.
yeah, that would be my first Mania weekend booking. So that'll be something special for sure. So
Yeah,
lot
yeah,
of big stuff. Passport came in the mail this week, so a lot of big stuff in store for me coming up here.
cool,
So
man.
yeah, real
Japan in
real
the
excited.
future.
Hopefully, working on it.
Yeah, yeah, that's gonna be awesome, dude. If you do make it over to Japan, bro, stay in touch, man. I definitely want
Oh
to
yeah,
do some.
yeah,
I,
absolutely,
I definitely want to do some reporting on like some indie guys over here from Michigan going over that way, man.
for sure.
That'd be awesome. But yeah, man, I thank you so much for your time. Thank you for joining the House of Grim podcast this evening. Man, you're awesome, bro. Keep pushing, keep grinding, keep kicking some ass. I love what you're doing over there with Pure Pro Wrestling. Man, you're the man, brother. Thank you so
Oh,
much.
thank you for having me, guys. It's been a pleasure.
As always, yeah.